Um, a startling public row between Saudi Arabia and the brash neighbor, the UAE, has exposed the steadily diverging paths of the once inseparable allies who are competing to profit for what may be the world's last oil boom. Um, Wrinkles in the relationships between the Gulf monarchies are usually resolved behind palace walls, but a fiery debate broke out over the future of global oil production. Um, oil production had burst into the open this week. The United Arab Emirates has bitterly opposed a proposed deal by the OPEC the OPEC alliance of the oil producing countries, slamming it as unjust and triggering a stalemate that could derail efforts to curb the rising crude prices amid a fragile post-pandemic recovery. This is all supply and demand. Presidents have nothing to do with that. That is a rare challenge to Saudi Arabia, the world's number one oil exporter, as well as the Arab world's largest economy and custodian of Islam's holiest site. But the fault lines were drawn before this week's virtual talks, and while observers say a full rupture is unlikely, the new competitive spirit will only intensify this. Saudi Arabia's ambitious de facto ruler, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and the UAE strongman Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed have long been seen as the region's power couple, known by their matching initials MBS and MBZ. While MBZ, which means Zayed, um, was once seen as a mentor to the young leader, their lack of joint appearances of late has triggered speculation that the relationship has cooled considerably. The economic rivalry is at the heart of the field. Um, the Gulf states are trying to cash in on their vast oil reserves as they face the beginning of the end of the oil era. Rita um, is desperate to fund an overdue program to diversify its economy before the switch to renewable is complete. Um, the kingdom has suffered from 50 years of lethargy in terms of economic policy and dynamism, and now it has to play catch up," said the Saudi government advisor Ali Shabahabi. "The Emirates will understand that you have to basically make some space for that." Um, Kirsten Fontaine-Rose, a former White House official responsible for the Saudi policy and now with the Atlantic Council, said that the strong arm tactics set the stage for the OPEC row. "The neighbors have now decided we have to prioritize our financial future against our friendship. It's it's basically the term called tit for tat, and we have no hard feelings, just economic realities. But loving the region's sleeping giant, Saudi Arabia is along the region's sleeping giant, Saudi Arabia is increasingly rivaling Dubai, and along the region's business and services hub by creating new post-oil industries such as tourism and technology from scratch. But nevertheless, quality of life and ease of doing business mean that the Emirates hubs, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, remain a powerful draw compared with the broken pavements and bewildering bureaucracy of Riyadh. With few carrots in its arsenal, Saudi Arabia has wielded the high stick here. In February, it issued an ultimatum to foreign firms that those seeking state contracts must have their Middle East headquarters in the kingdom by 2024. And there were some hits below the belt by our neighbor, but the issues will stay under control. An advisor to the UAE government told AFP, asking not to be named. The first obvious fracture in the relationship came in mid 2019 when the UAE made a hasty exit from the disastrous conflict in Yemen after marching in with Saudi Arabia 5 years before as part of a coalition to support the internationally recognized government. That left this left Riyadh deep in a quagmire from which it is still struggling to escape. And was there some Saudi sensitivity when the Emirates exited rapidly out of Yemen? Yes, there was, said Shahabi. Saudi would have hoped that the Emirates would have been slower and coordinated more, but the Emirates had their own calculations, creating a bit of an ill feeling. Seismic moves and regional diplomacy have illustrated the differing worldviews of the Gulf powers. But the UAE has spearheaded engagement with Israel, signing the U.S. brokered Abraham Accords in September 2020, expanding to include Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, and sparking outrage among the Palestinians. Um, Rita pointedly did not follow despot cheerleading from Washington. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, led a rapprochement with Qatar, which had endured a more than 3-year boycott by its neighbor over claims that the gas-rich nation backed Islamists and was too close to their regional rival Iran. Um, the UAE, which also has zero tolerance for political Islam, complied with the fence-mending moves, but with little enthusiasm. And there are new alliances being created in that region, the Abu Dhabi government advisor had told AFP, and two camps are emerging. These divergent interests that was once handled with discretion are now being raked over in public, but observers say the neighbors are far from a Qatar-style rupture. Talk of a rift is overblown, said Fontaine-Rose. Both countries are just trying to secure the economic future that they put forward in their vision plans, in which their leaders have a lot riding on. Yet, unlike the irritants such as Yemen policy and competition for foreign investment, the oil production row cannot be settled quietly as if it is a high-stakes issue for global energy markets, and you can't avoid it with OPEC, Shahabi said. When you have more than 20 people in the room and you quarrel with your wife, you cannot hide that.